welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Owygen. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It's a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today, as here we are, regular season football. Week 1, back at it again. For how many years has it been? What is this, my 16th year now? Crazy, huh? Going back to 2008. So, yeah, it's about that. 16 years, 17 years. So, it's been a heck of a ride. And, well, last year things started off so poorly, and it was episode 404 that I ended up calling the show episode 404, or error 404, pardon me. This year, Minnesota Vikings on the road instead of at home against a team that beat us at home in the playoffs just 2 years ago. Definitely a team that has taken a downturn over the past couple of years here. Vikings go on the road into New York or New Jersey or whatever you call it, MetLife Stadium, get the job done comfortably, 28-6 over the New York Giants. Not bad, eh? Well, not bad at all, honestly. Things didn't start out all so great, but all's well that ends well. Comfortable win for the Minnesota Vikings. You saw CJ Ham fumble early on in the game, and it's like, here we are, picking up right where we left off. Just like, really, we're gonna be like this. So that was annoying and stupid. But thankfully, the Vikings defense, again, not so bad at all, keeping the Giants out of the end zone completely. They would get their 3-0 lead thanks to the fumble by CJ Ham of all people. CJ Ham fumbled the ball? Really? Yeah, he did. It's like, here we go again. More BS, just like last year. No, not quite. Now again, the Giants team is not as good as the halfway decent Buccaneers team that came into U.S. Bank Stadium last year. But still, a win's a win, and it's cool to win on the road, too, because Vikings don't have great history versus the Giants on the road, including losing a playoff game years ago. But I suppose the Vikings won a playoff game there as well, surprisingly, and then got crushed 41 donut a few years later. Then this happened and then that happened. I know. Lots of history with the New York Giants over the years. Speaking of history, I really like the uniforms today. I saw mixed reviews. In fact, probably more negative than positive. Was it Brent? Yeah, Brent Jacobson. I don't think he listens anymore, unfortunately, but I don't know. It's a bummer. People only have so much time in their day, I guess, but it is what it is. He stated that they look like the Montreal Canadiens. I suppose, of course, that's an NHL team for those of you that don't watch hockey, but most of us have a clue who the Montreal Canadiens are. I think they're good uniforms, and I really like the metallic blue and red helmets. I like the red part. I like that metallic red look where it's kind of got that glittery look, so huge fan of that. Vikings, obviously, again, with the purple pants and all that, so obviously fun, classic showing. You saw an incredible sharpness in Sam Darnold throughout the entire game, completing 16 of 19 attempts for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. Most of it was, the first half and into very early third quarter. The rest of the game kind of dragged on, unfortunately. It wasn't really entertaining to watch, but the Vikings had already built a fairly comfortable lead, especially the pick 6 by our buddy Andrew Van Ginkel. Great play. So a pick 6. This is a 6th touchdown of his career, apparently, so good for him. Josh Metellus also had a pass deflection along the way. I also made a call last week that Dallas Turner would get his first sack in his first game, and he did. Dallas Turner did sack Daniel Jones in the game today. Pat Jones II also added a sack along the way, as did Harrison Phillips. So obviously like that. Pat Jones II, the only real positive pick during that 2021 NFL draft years ago in the mid-rounds when Mike Zimmer had stormed out after the Kellen Mond draft choice, of course. So we talked about that on last week's show in the season preview, where I have the Vikings finishing 9-8 and missing the playoffs. We'll see. Maybe the Vikings make it, maybe they don't. But overall, this Flores defense looks fantastic. Again, you got to put into perspective, though, who we're playing against. Daniel Jones is not as good of a quarterback as he looked against Ed Donachal in the 2 showings he played in 2022. Obviously, the nice, beautiful whiteout game on Christmas Eve back in 2022. Daniel Jones played a really good game, but the Vikings were a little bit better and got it done. The playoff game, Daniel Jones looked better than ever, and Kirk Cousins did his usual Kirky check down, or a check down Charlie deal late in the game, and it cost us, obviously. And just generally speaking, Kirk Cousins shriveled up. He was a shrinking violet. Never worth the paycheck I think that he got for the Minnesota Vikings, just like Daniel Jones. Not worth the paycheck that he's getting from the New York Giants. So the Vikings definitely in a much better position financially and cap-wise thanks to the change here. New York Giants fans were booing the hell out of Daniel Jones and the Giants coaching staff, the decisions being made along the way. But generally speaking, Daniel Jones is not a very good quarterback. And I don't know, the Giants made a mistake committing to Daniel Jones after a couple of good games against Ed Donahell's defense. Ed Donahell, but Donahell, you know what I mean? It was a terrible defense. Terrible. See the game? You know what I mean? It was like that against both of the Giants games and several other games during the course of the season. See the game? You know? So Malik Neighbors looks very promising as the star receiver for the Giants. Of course, a nice weapon brought in. As I remember how Aaron Rodgers has always been frustrated with how the Packers didn't bring in weapons for him in the past. And then with the Jets as well, you know, still obviously frustrated with how things go there. Aaron Rodgers is frustrated with a lot of things. I do agree with him on some things out there, but we'll keep that to a different podcast. Sam Darnold, though, incredibly sharp throughout the day. Really appreciate what he was able to accomplish. It was an awesome overall performance. I actually did get the numbers wrong. It hadn't completely refreshed, and I really apologize. 208 yards, and he did throw an interception. Along the way, did Sam Darnold 19 of 24. 19 of 24. Yeah, I was looking at him like, wait a minute, this didn't even refresh, did it? No, it didn't. But generally speaking, a very sharp performance. Did have an interception later in the game. Again, the Vikings weren't as sharp as the game progressed, but still, again, you got the big play from the defense as well to kind of put it on ice, put things on ice. Aaron Jones, his first start with the Minnesota Vikings, of course, great career with the Green Bay Packers. Good, awesome performance, honestly. On 14 rushes, 94 yards, 6.7 a carry. He did get in the end zone, and he was the first Viking to score a touchdown this season. So that's a little trivial answer for you. Who scored the first touchdown of the 2024 Minnesota Vikings? It is veteran running back Aaron Jones. So gotta love that overall. So again, so that quickly made up for the annoying fumble by C.J. Ham, and he was kind of in and out throughout the game today. So people not too pleased with what they saw. Daniel Jones attempted 42 passes, of course, playing from behind. It is what it is. A couple of interceptions thrown again, including that pick six. Devin Singletary, only 10 carries again because they were behind. And he only got 37 yards out of it in a long of 7. A long of 7. Wendell Robinson had a 14-yard carry along the way. And that's all he has to say about that. Daniel Jones ran the ball 6 times for 15 yards. Malik Neighbors, 5 catches for 66 yards, did not get in the end zone. Of course, not a single Giant did. Jalen Naylor, arguably the play of the game, only his only catch of the season so far, but playing that third receiver role, and good for him. He looks like he's going to be in that position. And again, great for him, a 21-yard catch. Just kind of a nice decoy play, using Justin Jefferson as a decoy and Sam Darnold nailing Jalen Naylor. Nailing, they nailed it, that type of thing, getting the job done. Loved that. Myles Gaskin, unfortunately, only had a minus 3 yards running the ball, as he was not used in the game a whole lot. Still, the Vikings offense, again, luckily, you're seeing more of a, you can call it an inclusive offense, since that's a word everybody likes to use these days. Yeah, well, anyhow, 24 attempts by Darnold. And, of course, when you're ahead, you want to run the ball and eat the clock up. I mean, you don't want to give the other team any type of hope that they're going to get the ball back. Once you're ahead by a certain amount, it's time to kind of slow down a little bit and, eat the clock. And that's pretty much what the Vikings did for most of the second half. Not the whole thing, of course. Darnold did have a couple of scampers, but generally speaking, nothing special other than, again, victory formation, running the clock out, other than a 3-yard scamper that didn't account for a whole lot, but oh well. Jordan Addison, unfortunately, has an ankle injury. They're saying it didn't sound super serious, but again, he already had an ankle injury, so go figure there. Josh Oliver, a couple catches for 27 yards, couple meaning 2. Ty Chandler, one of the nice screen plays as well. Good play. 10-yard long on one of them to get a first down. Like what you see out of Ty Chandler, he's not going to be the feature back. At least I wouldn't think so most of the time, but occasionally you'll have a bit of a thunder lightning effect, but Mr. Thunder is probably going to be the lead guy most of the year. Again, now I can bump this. I'm so happy that I can actually bump this table without fear of the microphone falling and hitting me in the knee or something or whatever in the face, because the stand was broken. Like the bottom of the stand, the base was broken. But I got a new base. All I needed was the base. I didn't need a whole new stand. The wonders of Amazon, where you can get just random parts like that. And just seeing that base with those 3 legs, I was like, oh my God, isn't that the coolest thing ever, that you can just buy that separately? The parts inside were a little weird, but so they did not fit. But thankfully, I took the parts that did fit out of the broken one, and everything worked out fine. Yeah, anyhow, sorry for getting weird a little bit there, but, well, it is kind of weird when your microphone might fall and hit you in the face or something, or get damaged. It was kind of annoying, but luckily I got the base replaced. Will Reichert made all 4 of his extra points. That's good compared to certain people that miss extra points and drive you crazy and piss you off. Ryan Wright, okay, he had three of his punts were in the 20. That's awesome. He only punted 4 times. Actually, really good day for Ryan Wright, to be fair. Jamie Gillian was very busy. No touchbacks on 6 punts. Good for him, and 4 of them were in the 20. So good for him, along of 55 along the way. Stephen Gilmore was beat a little bit, but nothing too bad. Looks good. Obviously, Harrison Smith also had an interception to help kind of wrap things up and such. At the Ender Van Ginkel, again, that was very exciting down the way. Pat Jones actually had 2 sacks in the game, not 1 but 2. So 2 sacks for Patrick Jones II. Great day for him. He probably saw himself in the newspapers. Well, so what are you calling me? Like just a mediocre defensive lineman? Well, I'm better than that, damn it. Okay, Pat, good job, man. 2 sacks for him. Harrison Phillips also adding a sack again. Van Ginkel adding a sack. He's arguably the defensive player of the day. Baron Murphy Jr. was busy with 9 tackles, which isn't always a good thing. That means he got, the guy had to catch the ball for him to get the tackle. It's not like the linebacker position where they're literally professional tacklers. Cornerbacks are supposed to deny the ball. So Baron Murphy Jr., he had a slow start to the year last year. I'm not all that worried about him at the moment. So, but still kind of a bummer. Dallas Turner with 3 total tackles, including a sack. And the very first tackle he ever had in his entire career was a sack. So that's awesome. Vikings got penalized a bit off and on during the course of the game. Some okay, some not. I don't know. It is what it is. Penalties are frustrating, but they do happen. There's no doubt about that. The fumble by C.J. Ham drove me a little bit crazy, but don't worry, C.J. If you wind up with a certain demerit, somebody else is going to share it with you, and it might not be a player. Might not. I'll let you know about that coming up shortly. It might even be somebody's ankle, but no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to stay away from Jordan Addison's ankle, spoiler alert, so we'll leave that alone. Happy for Myles Gaskin that he's in the NFL. Overall, positive vibes here in this game. Sam Darnold looked very, very, very sharp. There's a chance he might make a heck of a lot of money in the offseason. There's also a chance that, he's going to be up and down. He's going to be pretty good. We'll say like above average. He's probably not going to be the 26th or 27th best quarterback. He'll be closer to maybe where Kirk Cousins was, 14th or something. Maybe that'd be okay, and then he could get a big contract somewhere else. Who knows? Or he's Nick Foles or something, and he has a spectacular year, and we keep him for another year or two, and and then we eventually move on. I don't even want to think about knee injuries to very high prospect quarterbacks that played for the Eagles when Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. I don't even want to think about that and what kind of career that guy had afterward. I don't even want to think about that. Carson Wentz. Let's not even go there. J.J. McCarthy's going to have a wonderful career with Minnesota, and really looking forward to that. It sucks that we got to wait, but, that was kind of part of the conversation this past week as well. That, he was, it was like if you wake up to a brace on your knee, then it had to be something more serious. Otherwise, if not, then it's probably not too serious. And he woke up to the brace on the knee, and they said there was expletives that followed. I could imagine something along the lines of WTF. That's probably what he said. Probably. Him being J.J. McCarthy. But sorry, I'm all over the place, and I'm kind of always like this. Sorry. Again, it's a nice win. Just imagine, compared to the alternative, like losing today, it's like, oh my God, it's going to be a long year. Holy crap. Like if Darnold came out and was just garbage and Daniel Jones started, having some moments against us again, nothing great, but good enough, that type of thing. And we end up losing a final score of, let's say, 21-17 or something just stupid. Some stupid, maybe, and then you miss a kick or something. Though I'd like to believe Will Riker is going to be a great kicker for many years, like a Ryan Longwell for us. Like the Green Bay's version of him. Not that he wasn't bad. Not that he was bad here, but he was great with the Packers for many years before he came to Minnesota. It would have sucked losing. It really would have. But we didn't. So the Vikings did not lose this football game. I had a feeling, with this improved, younger defense the last couple of years, as the defense got younger and younger and younger, and it focused on the pass rush when you bring in a guy like Dallas Turner and, of course, Brian Flores, being cemented here as the defensive coordinator, hopefully for many years to come. We'll see. Unless people can look past some of that, BS with him and Tua. You're going to hear from Gerald Swing about that later on, starting off segment number 3. Sorry, that's a little bit of a spoiler alert, but yeah, Tua, give me a break. It's one of those games, it's like, it's positive, you feel good, but it's like, I don't have too much analyzing to give you in this one. Just positive vibes, just positive vibes. Darnold was sharp. Aaron Jones was outstanding for, any running back we've had in the Kevin O'Connell era. You had a 27-year-old Delvin Cook in 2022 who looked like he might have been 37. It was ridiculous. He's always looked older, like his face looks old, just kind of his look. But he played like he was, he played like a, He played like a deer, or whatever word you want to say, like a cheetah. He was fantastic. But then injury after injury after injury, and next thing you know, he's playing like he's 37, like a 37-year-old running back who's chasing some kind of rushing record, like he's trying to be 5th all-time, 4th all-time, 3rd all-time, one of those kind of guys, similar to a certain guy who used to play here 10 years ago who just kept coming back with other teams. That guy. But yeah, that's what Delvin Cook looked like at 27. And then last year, I didn't even want to think about it. other than we had the wrong guy starting most of the way anyway, until the poor guy that wasn't starting tore his Achilles tendon, and then that option was gone. Oh, and then finally this Ty Chandler guy that we've had all this time. Oh, okay, he's actually a little better than this Alexander Madison. So again, you can clearly see a massive upgrade with Aaron Jones at running back. I knew I was going to do that. It's like, of course I was. Aaron, yeah. But again, you look on the other sidelines, Daniel Jones making way too much at being below average. You have Sam Darnold on our sideline making $10 million, which is not that cheap. It's $10 million. It's $10 million. It's $10 million bucks. I know it's 2024. It's not 2006. It's still, but it's still a significant amount of money, no matter how you look at it. But not even close to what we were paying Kirk Cousins. And not even close to what the Dallas Cowboys are paying Dak Prescott, who might be flashing on the screen in front of me. Seriously? Say $60 million a year. Are you guys stupid? Or like $60 million a year? Really, man?
What were they thinking?
$60 million a year. I don't know, but I guess that's professional sports, huh? Yeah, professional sports. $60 million a year, huh? Guess he wasn't making enough already with his massive contract he had already signed. It's unbelievable. I don't know, but that's the Dallas Cowboys for you. I just kind of at a loss of that one. But, yep, like I said, positive vibes. Negative thing is, again, Jordan Addison with the ankle. C.J. Ham with the fumble, which was super annoying. And it put you in a really bad mood at the beginning of the game, thinking, like, here we go again, the same BS we put up with all year last year. But it wasn't the case. So, the Fran Tarkington Award winner for this episode, it's going to still be Sam Darnold. Great overall performance, really impressive, very sharp, kept us feeling really good throughout the entire game. Even though the second half was nothing all that special, like the second half of the third quarter into the fourth was nothing special. But overall, looking like a starting quarterback, looking a lot closer to the guy that went number 3 overall, rather than the guy throwing 3 interceptions every week for the New York Jets. and eventually the Carolina Panthers. But that's what happens. You get a better coaching staff. Obviously, you go through your ups and downs. You had a nice coaching staff last year. Unfortunately, you didn't get to play because it was, Brock Purdy's team. Almost won the Super Bowl. Poor guy. Still wish they did. Of course they do. But, got to be with Kyle Shanahan last year. Kevin O'Connell this year gets to be the starting quarterback. There's no doubt he is the starting quarterback this year. There's nothing to worry about. It's kind of like Kirk Cousins in a way in the past where, at least for this year, Kirk Cousins would never have to worry about not being the starter. So there's that. Sam Darnold, Fran Tarkenton Award winner for this show. The Christian Ponder Memorial can go to C.J. Ham because of the fumble. But I think the one that takes the cake for today has to be the NFL app because it didn't work. What's the most important part about watching a football game? Well, being able to watch it. And what happened to the NFL app? It didn't work. All I got was a spinning wheel. Except for the last couple, minute and a half or so of the first half. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? We got the spinning wheel. Spin, spin, spin. Okay, it's going to come, right? It's not going to come. Okay, just kill the app, start all over. Spin, spin. Oh, my God. It never came back. It just didn't. So that was really annoying. So unfortunately, I had to be indoors most of the way to see it. So that's the annoying part. Because, when it's still nice out, you'd rather, I don't know, being indoors can be really boring. I don't know, even if it's watching a game. It's nice out. It'd be nice to watch the game outdoors with your mobile device. But when you see nothing but spinning, yeah, it kind of screws it up. And funny, I'm seeing somebody spinning using a baseball bat. That's funny. That figures. What is it? A St. Paul Saints thing going on. Entertaining, I guess. Sort of. But yeah, entertaining overall. Positive vibes. You feel great. And away we go. Justin Jefferson, again, also had a touchdown on a play. 4th and 2. Showing some guts. Drew the Vikings in an easy play. Justin Jefferson was one-on-one. And that felt really good for Justin Jefferson making that easy catch. Kind of, no, it'd be like the opposite version of what the Seattle Seahawks did versus the New England Patriots. This one worked. You thought, we're just going to run it in with the big guy, Lynch, Marshawn Lynch. But instead they did a quick little pass and it was picked off and the Patriots were world champions. In this case, it wasn't for a Super Bowl or anything, but it still was a great quick play, quick release. Sam Darnold to Jefferson and a quick 2-yard touchdown on 4th and 2. Great. So that type of play last year would not have worked. You just know it wouldn't have for whatever reason. Be it Kirk Cousins, doing something down his leg or just for whatever reason, something going wrong, just because that's the kind of year it was last year. People dropping the pass or whatever the heck else, like offensive linemen, screwing up and then, what's his name, fumbling, Kirk Cousins. So we'll talk about Kirk Cousins and the Falcons not winning in the second segment. That's going to be one of our highlights, I guess you can say, in a sense. But nice start to the season. I'm not dancing on the clouds yet. Obviously, I'm a guy who's seen the Vikings get to several NFC title games and lose in either heartbreaking fashion or getting blown to bits. Either way, it sucked and was depressing. So obviously, beating a lousy New York Giants team on the road does not have me dancing on the clouds, but at least it's positive vibes to start out the year. That's kind of where I'm at this stage. So, yes, nice. Because losing this game would have been really bad, honestly. So we'll see how things go into next week. With that, we'll take a quick break, and we'll talk about next week and go around the NFL a bit, as we like to do in segment number 2. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 2. We're back to my favorite segment of all time. In fact, a lot of ways it really is. It's so chill and so fun. But at least we had good news to talk about. It wasn't depressing like a lot of the games last year. Sunday Night Football flashing in the background. A great wild card week matchup last season. Very defensive-minded battle between the Detroit Lions and Los Angeles Rams. Two teams I think could be huge threats. Of course, they have the Lions winning the NFC and the Rams, well, at least making the playoffs, and who knows, maybe they could go further than some people think. But of course, Aaron Donald did retire, so that's a pretty big loss. But we'll kind of randomly update that, I guess, over the course of time. Of course, the Vikings will be playing the San Francisco 49ers next week. Another nooner, kind of like last year, but a little bit later in the season. One of the most epic games of the year last year. In fact, most people would say it was the feature presentation of the entire season, where this year, well, we'll see. Maybe it is. Sam Darnold going against a club that he was on for a year and maybe helped him along the way. It'll be Aaron Rodgers versus Brock Purdy on Monday Night Football on the American Broadcasting Channel, or whatever the heck it is. I think that's what it is, NBC right now. Of course, Sunday Night Football, pardon me. And then you had Thursday Night Football, a rematch of the AFC Championship game. Much to our chagrin, we saw Baltimore lose to the Chiefs. Yeah, that was annoying. Stupid. I hated it. Baltimore had it, and they just didn't have it. And then same thing happened again on Thursday Night Football, where Baltimore probably could have beaten the Chiefs, and they ultimately just did not. Patrick Mahomes being clutch and all that such, like he tends to be. Even when it looked like a down year last year, even when it looked like, oh yeah, the 49ers are going to finally get over the hump here, and then they ultimately did not. Really annoying. Justin Tucker, a couple of chip shot kicks, one from 25 and one from 32. Harrison Buckner also chip shots, 32 and 31, respectively. Lamar Jackson had some moments, but it wasn't that great. It was okay. He was okay. He was accurate and all that, but only one touchdown pass. But he did run. Yeah, his running game was good, but of course a big fumble along the way totally sucked. 122 yards on the ground. Derrick Henry, the former Tennessee Titan, with 46 yards on the ground, and old Patrick Mahomes, 20 of 28 completions, one touchdown, one INT. But again, the Chiefs win by 7. Unfortunately, an old very young Pacheco, drove me nuts. Pacheco, not Pacheco, Pacheco, annoying little whatever he is. Unfortunately, they get the job done and whatever. I'm sick of the Chiefs. And, of course, I'm really, really sick of the sideshow. I think we all know what it is. The tight end and the awful singer, the annoying tight end, the jerk tight end and the awful singer. Yeah, I think we're all sick of that nonsense. Heck, one quick note on the side here. On Thursday night when they were showing, she's in the building. I'm not even going to say her name on this show. At least I'm going to try not to. You all know who it is, I would hope. And plus the annoying tight end, I'll just call him that, and the awful singer. They said, she's in the building, whatever. And then I wrote go away with 2 middle finger emojis, like this, double barrel, that type of thing. Guess who loved it? Former Minnesota Viking Artis Hicks. Artis Hicks, former Minnesota Viking guard back in the day, in the, I believe, the Childress era. From the Eagles, believe it or not. Yes, he was from the Eagles to the Vikings, just like Childress. He loved the post. And I was like, all right, isn't that the coolest thing? So Artis Hicks, of course, is actually a Facebook friend of mine, but yeah, it's not like he knows me or anything, but that was kind of cool, I have to say. So Friday Night Football, FNF, that doesn't sound good. FNF, Friday Night Football. Now we have football on Fridays. Might as well just have it every day of the week, I guess. I don't know. Might as well. It's going to be like basketball and hockey and baseball since all the other sports. I don't know. It's getting weird. It's going to make scheduling confusing, but maybe not. I guess it's not that hard. But yeah, let's maybe keep Wednesday and Tuesday off, okay? Can we do that? Unless there's a snowstorm that breaks the top of the building again. The 2 green teams, Philadelphia, a team I have in the NFC title game, versus the Detroit Lions, which could happen, we'll see, hosting the Green Bay Slackers. And the Slackers did not win the game. The Philadelphia Eagles look a lot like the Philadelphia Eagles of a couple years ago when they almost beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, kind of like the 49ers. Really good defense and really good offense. And they somehow did not beat the stinking Chiefs. Yeah, it's really annoying. Really annoying. 34-29 is your final. A significant injury to Jordan Love, but not a, devastating injury to Jordan Love. Didn't particularly have a great game either. 17 of 34. That's not great. That's, what is it, like 50%? That kind of sucks. He was kind of a mess. And Jalen Hurts was feeling the hurt as well. I know. See what I did there? I was real creative. Yeah, well, he had a couple of interceptions in the game to go along with his 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, though, outstanding performance for the most part. A couple of touchdowns, 109 yards on the ground as well. Jaden Reed receiving for the Packers. He was Mr. Favre or Mr. Bart Starr or Mr. Lombardi or whatever, with 4 catches and 138 yards on the day for him, with a touchdown as well. Good for Jaden Reed at the end of the day. So back to Jordan Love. It is an MCL. An MCL. I remember when it was like believed to be. I thought I was reading, I thought I was reading season-ending MCL, and I'm like, no. MCLs are not season-ending. They're usually about a month, right? Like Adrian had one years ago, back in, I believe, his rookie year. And then Chester Taylor replaced him for a while, and he did really well, like he should do. Chester Taylor's starting caliber running back in his day. But yeah, it's about a month, 3 to 4 weeks, that kind of thing. And then I'm like, okay, not season ending. I didn't see it correctly. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. So yes, about a month for Jordan Love. So the Packers season is not over, but Malik Willis, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I believe he played with the Titans very recently, right? One of those guys that was kind of touted and then kind of slipped in the draft, and then the Titans drafted him. That kind of thing, kind of like they did the next year. So with their current starting quarterback, we'll get back to that later. Josh Jacobs, the former Oakland Raider / Las Vegas Raider, sorry. It's Las Vegas, but he was with Oakland as well. 84 yards on the ground with no TDs, but did get a 32-yard scamper along the way. The Packers opened the season 1-0, so the Vikings are ahead of the Green Bay Packers right now. In fact, depending on how things go with Detroit, Vikings just might be a first-place club at the end of week 1. So what do you think of that, huh? Just imagine if we beat the San Francisco 49ers coming up. Okay, well, let's get to Sunday. Should I make this more of a feature presentation? Nah, it really wasn't at all. Pittsburgh, well, a guy by the name of Russell Wilson was not available to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so the other guy who was kind of like pushed away from his club and was a very highly touted draft pick, apparently by the Minnesota Vikings as well, was highly touted as a possible trade-up target. And Mike Zimmer basically made a comment about the Vikings chasing after Justin Fields, Rick Spielman to be specific, that he hasn't done anything. Well, I guess he hasn't. He didn't do that much for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I guess he did enough. No touchdowns, 156 yards on 17 of 23. That's not too bad. Oh, this guy named Kirk Cousins, remember him? Below average performance. In fact, pretty lousy, actually. I remember Kirk starting kind of crappy last year as well, didn't he? But then he picked up the pace as the season progressed. And when things started to look incredibly positive, all of a sudden the Achilles popped. And it was like, what? Did that really just happen? Kirk Cousins never misses time. Well, he missed the rest of the year because it's an Achilles tendon. In this game, Kirk Cousins, 16 of 26, 155 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Big interception along the way, and then a check down late. I'm going to jump ahead to the Twitter because there was something, oh, wow. Wow, lots of hits from Dave Hickey. That's kind of cool. So it looks like he's become more of a Twitter guy than Facebook, but that's totally fine with me. Okay, so Phil Mackey shared a post from Eric Thompson, who talked about Kirk Cousins. So I figure I'm going to do this here and now because, yeah. So Falcons' second half drives today, and it's an image of Kirk Cousins looking up in the sky going, as he was a Viking quarterback. Of course, Falcons' second half drives today, 5 plays, 13 yards, fumbled, bad snap. Next one, 9 plays, 5 yards on 9 plays. Oof. Yuck. Punt. 3rd down, check down. 6 plays, 5 yards, punt. 3rd down, check down. 5 plays, 11 yards, punt. 3rd down, check down. Well, does that sound familiar? The next one, 2 plays, 13 yards, interception. 4 plays, minus 2 yards, and a game-ending sack. So things did not end well for a very wealthy man in Kirk Cousins' case. A guy who could probably buy several churches or build several churches. God knows where, all over the place. And absolutely nothing against him building churches. That'd be great if he does. But it's a lot of money coming his way from the Vikings and the Falcons over the course of the last, several years here. So it's a lot of bucks, a lot of money. Not good. Not good enough, I'm sure. And Pittsburgh's not that good either. By the way, was this game in Atlanta? Yes, it was. Mercedes-Benz Stadium against the Pittsburgh frickin' Steelers. And my God, they look like the Steel Curtain. And they look like the later version of the Steel Curtain when they actually started winning Super Bowls again. You could call it the Ben Roethlisberger era, whether you liked him or not, but it was a hell of a defense and it was well coached by starting off with Bill Cowher and into Mike Tomlin, a very tough team that won 2 Super Bowls since then. Obviously, they got their 4 back in the good old 70s and the very beginning of the 80s. But I don't know. They look like the Steel Curtain against Kirk Cousins, that's for sure. Pretty incompetent, honestly. I could name a presidential candidate years ago talking about a guy who was the current president at the time, saying, "You are so incompetent." Yes, you could say that about Kirk Cousins right now. You are so incompetent. I actually wish I had a soundbite like that because it wasn't a good game for Kirk at all. Yuck. We'll see if things come around later. We'll see. But good overall performance by the Steelers. Only 2 sacks, but one of them was the game ender at the end of the day. TJ Watt had one of them along the way, and the Falcons lose by 8 to the mediocre Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They did. Kyler Murray, my fantasy quarterback, I guess, whether I like it or not at the moment, losing to the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, Highmark Stadium, 34-28 victory for the Buffalo Bills. All right, well, good for Buffalo. The what's his name is gone now, Stephon Diggs. He's on a new club in Houston. Kyler Murray, 21 of 31 for a touchdown. And he lost a fumble in the game. No touchdown running, but 57 yards. What he did again, lose a fumble in the game. I don't know. He's not going to be starting much longer, especially if a certain Jacksonville quarterback steps it up here like we know he can. Josh Allen, very strong performance with a couple TDs. Only attempted 23 passes for 233 yards and 71 yards on the ground. He also, I'm looking at the wrong thing. That's James Cook, 71 yards on the ground. Josh Allen with 2 touchdowns rushing. Great overall game, except for a lost fumble. But that happens sometimes, I guess. At the end of the day, Buffalo Bills win. Let's move along. I think I dragged this too long, and maybe I'm annoying people. But a good win by the Bills. We'll wait on the Bears because that's a divisional matchup. Ugh, what the hell is this? Yuck. Well, before I get to that, I'm going to mention an urban legend that I should have said in the first segment. This game was the biggest margin of victory for the Vikings today in 5 frickin' years. In the 2020s. It was the biggest margin of victory for a Vikings team in the 2020s. That's pretty weird. And I know the Vikings stunk in 2020 and in 21, but they were 13-4. We were 13-4 in 2022, but every game was close. But it was the first time it was like a 3-score level game margin of victory for the Vikings in the 2020s over 5 years. It's pretty ridiculous, isn't it? The 2019 Vikings were the last team to achieve that type of victory. How about this one? Cincinnati hosting the New England Patriots. I mean, they're not going to lose this one. This should be pretty easy. I mean, Patriots are, they're a mess. They're kind of starting over and all that. Cincinnati manages only 10 lousy points against the New England Patriots. Well, they have another defensive-minded coach. They have a linebacker for a head coach now. And, now that Bill Belichick was a bad defensive coach, he was fantastic. But, I don't know. Jacoby Brissett, he's pretty solid. I've always liked Jacoby Brissett. I've always kind of had a soft spot for the guy. I liked him when he was the Colts quarterback for a little while. Joe Burrow, pretty mediocre. Which guy was really better? I guess Burrow by a slight margin, like about 40 more yards passing. Neither guy threw a touchdown or an interception. Crazy. Zach Moss with only 44 yards on the ground, but still solid. I don't know. Looked like, New England played a more old school, pound the ball a bit style than Cincinnati. It seemed like they were just kind of, looking for bigger plays that just weren't there, I guess. Where Ramondre Stevenson had 25 carries. That's pretty old school, bell cow style, with 120 yards and a touchdown. Kind of like Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson kind of a game there for Ramondre Stevenson. Whereas Cincinnati, I don't know, just very disappointing. Only 10 freaking points, and this was at home too. Keon White, 2.5 sacks. I don't know. And Burrow, I just hope the injuries aren't starting to catch up to him. He's not that old, but man, 2.5 sacks. And I do remember the offensive line being a massive problem in the past. I don't know if Cincinnati's ever going to right that. How the Vikings always had offensive line problems until finally the last year and a half, 2 years now, 3 years maybe, with Darisaw being an elite left tackle. Finally got that position settled for the first time, going back to Corey Stringer, baby. That's a long time ago. So, and we all know how we lost Corey Stringer. Very, very devastating to say the least. Very. Bengals only 10 freaking points, and I picked them to win the Super Bowl over these Detroit Lions right here. They've already got 10 points, leading 10-3 as the half is looming with 50 seconds remaining in the Rams. Trying to get into field goal range at the very least, but 50 seconds is enough time to do a heck of a lot when you're about 56 yards away or so, approximately. But that Detroit defense hanging tough so far. We all know the Rams defense is pretty good too. Houston Texans hosting the Indianapolis Colts. 2 young quarterbacks going at it. Richardson back, healthy and playing. It was pretty good. Honestly, 2 touchdowns and INT, only attempted 19 passes, but still got 212 yards for C.J. Stroud, a stud rookie of the year type of a guy. 234 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, insanely efficient, 24 of 32. But then talk about bell cow running game. Holy crap. Joe Mixon, the former Cincinnati Bengal, they could have used him today. 30 carries. 30 carries in the game. And this is a close game, high-scoring, close game. 30 carries by Joe Mixon, an old veteran now. He's getting up there. He's the same age as he was in the same draft as Delvin Cook. He got a single touchdown. His long of the day was only 13, yet he averaged 5.3 a carry. It's like Tecmo Bowl football. When the running game's working, just keep going. You just keep running the ball. Nico Collins also with 6 catches and 117 yards. But Stephon Diggs, old Stephon Glue-Hand Diggs, with 6 catches, only 33 yards, but 2 of them were touchdowns for Stephon Diggs. So kind of like, can you dig it? Yeah, digging in, up the middle, that type of stuff. But, hey, they got the job done. Houston is 1-0. They are one of those fashionable picks for an AFC championship type of a team. So we'll see how that turns out. Maybe one of these guys will go to the AFC title game and knock the stinking Chiefs out. We'll see, because Cincinnati, they better get their head out of somewhere real soon. Hard Rock Stadium, the Miami Dolphins. It's an all Florida battle here. Florida. Or like old New Yorkers moving to Florida. Old retired New Yorkers moving to Florida. Yeah. Well, 20-17 victory, the Dolphins over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, you'll be hearing from Gerald Springs shortly to talk about Tua, who threw for 338 yards and a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence only 163 yards and a touchdown. Solid, but more like if it's fantasy football, he's kind of a backup so far, isn't he? A lot of us thought Trevor Lawrence is one of those guys that's going to go in the first round of the draft every year in fantasy football. No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. It's just not happening, is it? It's very, it's just, he's not bad, but he's just okay. He's just good, He's just good. Tyreek Hill, who was pulled over and arrested, I guess, for a traffic violation. And he then made 7 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown. All right, one of them was an 80, so old Peace Sign himself was peace signing it. I hope he didn't do that to the police, but maybe that's why he was arrested and cuffed and all that, because he was peace signing the police officers on his way to the stadium. Can you believe that? What a goofball. What the, seriously, like, what's going on? Are you okay? Are you okay? Seriously? Jalen Waddell also with 5 catches, 109 yards. Outstanding. If you like to watch aerial football or guys that catch the ball and run really fast, like Tyreek Hill, well, there it is. There's like a passing game that can lead to either scampers to pay dirt or some deep passes from Tua. It's an entertaining team to watch. I'll give them that, the Miami Dolphins. And they did beat the Jaguars in a close battle. Etienne Jr. had 2 catches. I always have fun with that name. 12 runs along with Tank Bisbee, who was better. because Anthony Jr. fumbled. He scored a touchdown, but he fumbles also. It's bloody terrible. It's a sticky wicket there. Tank Bigsby with 73 yards on 12 rushes. But it was a sticky wicket of a football game. That means a tough situation, by the way, in Great Britain. A sticky wicket is the same thing as being like, oh boy, this is we're in a pickle, or this is tough. It's a sticky wicket, for those of you that don't know what that means. It was a sticky wicket of a football game, and the Dolphins escaped 20-17. Interesting. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of annoying, isn't it? Saints versus Carolina Panthers. You thought this was going to be one of those boring, lower-scoring games, you know? Yeah, I mean, Panthers are awful. But the Saints, they're okay. Maybe they're like average. Maybe they'll make the playoffs. Well, I don't know. Maybe Drew Brees and Sean Payton are back in their primes again in New Orleans, because it was 47-10. Biggest margin of victory here in Week 1. There's no doubt about that. Derek Carr is, he's in the driver's seat. Yeah. 23 attempts, 19 completions, 3 touchdowns, only 200 yards, but efficient like you wouldn't believe. Alvin Kamara has been in the league at least as long as Dalvin Cook, and it seems like he's not aging at all. Maybe kind of like Joe Mixon. He's just, he's just hanging in there, you know. I know he hates us. 15 runs, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Jamal Williams also only 38 yards on 11 runs for a touchdown. Adam Thielen with 3 catches, former Viking, of course, and we all want him back for a day, I guess, when he retires or something. I don't know, 3 catches for 49 yards. Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick in 2023, 30 attempts, 13 completions, 2 INTs, a quarterback rating of 32.8. Boy, well, it's all uphill from here, right? I hope, because it better be soon, because that's pretty lousy. Oh boy, Mike Boone, former Viking, also with 4 rushes for 7 yards. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds insanely familiar. But bottom line, Lord have mercy, they got their butts handed to them, didn't they? To the Panthers. Great game by the Saints, and congratulations for, is it Dennis Allen? Congratulations, buddy. So it seems like one of the cooler guys of head coaches out there. Raiders and Chargers. Raiders and Chargers, classic AFC West matchup, pardon me. Classic, old school, San Diego versus Los Angeles or Oakland or whatever. Well, it's LA versus Vegas now. It's weird. These teams are, the Raiders have moved how many times now? And Gardner Minshew's the starting quarterback. Well, it's better than the other guy, O'Connell. Holy crap, Aiden O'Connell. Oh, he's like a third-string quarterback, and he's like a starter. So I guess you might as well have a number 2 as your starter, because he's at least a spot-starting capable quarterback in Gardner Minshew. He's at least a Gus Frerotte kind of a guy. You know, he's decent. One touchdown, 1 INT, 257 yards. It's not bad. Herbert, well, he's one of those super clutch red zone guys. Like, his numbers are off the charts. They even showed it. What did he have? Like 86 touchdowns and like 5 interceptions in the red zone. Like, he's insane in the red zone, kind of like against us last year. J.K. Dobbins was not kidding. See what I did there? 135 yards and only 10 rushes, a 61-yard scamper. Great game for him. And what's his face? Jim Harbaugh's back, baby. Jim Harbaugh, Captain Comeback, former Colt and Bear and other teams. Well, Jim Harbaugh, Captain Comeback himself. He actually played for the Chargers too, didn't he? Later in his career. But pretty cool. Nice win for him. Comfortable victory. And Herbert wasn't even anything spectacular. Just, 144 yards and 26 attempts. Not that bad, but not good either. Nothing special to brag about or write home about. Rematch of the Super Bowl about 11 years ago now. Yeah, it's garbage. It's 2 garbage teams, Denver Broncos and Seattle Sea Chickens. Nothing to brag about there at all. 26-20, similar result in terms of who won the game, but certainly not as lopsided as it was that day. Ugh, I hated seeing Seattle win that game. It was awful, but Denver just was not ready to play that game. I mean, they got their butts handed to them. And today, Bo Nix is he's the only rookie to be starting. Oh no, he's the other rookie to be starting. I don't think the other one won either, but Bo Nix, lousy. 42 attempts, 2 interceptions. yuck, 138 yards. Geno Smith, meh, kind of just like a mediocre starting quarterback, I guess. 171 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Kenneth Walker III with 103 yards on the ground on 20 rushes. Good for him. Geno Smith also ran one in, so good for you, Geno. Old Geno himself. 2 sacks for Jonathan Cooper of the Denver Broncos, so he was definitely stood out in that sense. But the Seattle Sea Chickens win by 6 points in a 26-20 victory. The Cowboys being hosted by the Cleveland Browns in Huntington Bank Field rather than Huntington Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota, hosting the Gophers, who, well, they won 48-0 yesterday over Rhode Island, but man, they lost to North Carolina last week. Yeah, here's the reason why I'm not a huge college football fan, because I didn't grow up with real exciting college football here, did I? No, I really didn't. Oof. Neither did the Cleveland Browns, at least today. What a lousy start to the season. Well, $60 million to Dak Prescott. Maybe he's on some kind of sugar high. 33-17. $60 million a year. In just when you see like $240 million, right, on your contract. What is it, 8 years, 9 years? No, 4. What the? Sam Hill? Really? $60 million a year for Dak Prescott? I mean, $60 million a year for Patrick Mahomes sounds like too much. Dak Prescott, though? Okay. Yeah, he's kind of like in the Kirk Cousins area. He's good, but he's never going to win you a Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And it doesn't matter what demographic this guy is or that guy is. They're both kind of that 10 to 14 best quarterback in the league, but they want to be paid like they're in the top 3, like Mount Rushmore level here. I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes would be overpaid at $60 million. And I'm dead serious when I say that. 60 freaking million? Come on. I mean, when you consider all the endorsements guys are going to make, like, why do you need to give him that much? Gee, and like destroy your team's cap. Ezekiel Elliott's back with the Cowboys. Isn't that weird? It's so weird. He's been in the league way too long now. He's one of those running backs that just keeps coming back for more, I guess. 10 rushes, 40 yards. And a touchdown, though. Dak Prescott, nothing spectacular either in this. 32 attempts for 179 yards, but he didn't turn the ball over. Deshaun Watson has just never been good as a Cleveland Brown because he was hurt real bad, like multiple times with Houston, and then he was out of the league for like 2 years with all that drama going on. He resurfaces with the Browns, who pay him $1 bajillion as well, and he's sucked ever since. 45 attempts, too. 45 attempts. And a lousy 169 and 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown. It's just, boy, I'm sorry, Cleveland, I really am. And I know some of you don't like the coach. I don't think it's Kevin Stefanski's fault, though, really. More than, I don't know. I think the GM has got some answering to do as well, because, I don't know, man. Some of the decisions over there are questionable, to say the least. Oh, look. Oh, shoot. I bumped something. I'm already at the last game. That's good. Before we get into the Bears and the San Francisco 49ers, coming up. Tampa Bay Bucks did what they did last year. They won their season opener against a mediocre team, in this case. Very mediocre team. And another rookie quarterback starting out right away. The Washington Commanders against the Tampa Bay Schmucks, 37-20. Pretty comfortable win for the Tampa Bay Schmucks. Baker Mayfield looking like a number 1 overall pick. Good job. It's about time, right? 30 attempts, 24 completions, 289 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes level there. Whenever you see like 4 touchdowns and 300 yards, you're thinking of Mahomes pretty much, whether you like him or not. I don't know. It's not his fault. I just don't like the Chiefs, damn it. I just don't like them. And I don't know. Baker Mayfield, great game, though. Absolutely great. And Washington's supposed to be a pretty good defensive team. And, was it Quinn's the coach, right? Isn't it Jonathan Quinn's the coach? Dan Quinn, Jonathan Quinn. Where the hell did that come from? Jonathan Quinn was a lousy quarterback. Dan Quinn. Sorry. Baker Mayfield carved him up pretty good, baby. And Washington was a decent defensive team, weren't they, before? Under Ron Rivera? They didn't do anything else after that. Jaden Daniels, well, he did run the ball in twice, so kind of a Culpepper-like rookie game. Unfortunately, with the loss, though. I remember it was wild, crazy kind of a defensive battle with the Miami Dolphins when Dante played in his first game. Second season in the NFL, but first start and first game ever as the Vikings quarterback. He ran the ball in 3 times because he's a big, burly son of a gun, was Dante Culpepper. And it was awesome. He was the best goal line threat in the league when Dante Culpepper was healthy and all that, young and healthy. Best goal line threat in maybe in NFL history because he's a quarterback with the ability to bowl right through everybody. Jaden McDaniels, obviously a great athlete, more so than, say, a big burly dude like Culpepper. No touchdowns, no interceptions, protected the ball pretty well. Good for him. He didn't fumble either. Ran the ball in 2 times and had 88 yards and 16 rushes, so that's nice. And Brian Robinson Jr. as well. 40 yards on the ground and a touchdown. So the running game worked great for Washington, but generally speaking, the defense just wasn't there, and Tampa was pretty damn special, to say the least. They do have great receivers in Chris Goodwin, who had a touchdown with 83 yards and 8 catches. Mike Evans, 5 catches, 61 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Congratulations to fantasy owners of Mike Evans. Good for them, to say the least. Nothing overly exciting defensively necessarily, but an overall strong performance by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you know what? Jaden Daniels, not Jaden McDaniels, the current Minnesota Timberwolf small forward who's on his way to a wonderful career if he stays healthy and keeps his head straight, doesn't break his hand punching walls or anything like brick walls. Yeah, that was smart. Jaden Daniels, nice start actually. That's not bad. I mean, it's a sucky loss and everything, but I don't know. Tampa might be pretty good this year. They didn't get to the second round last year. Baker Mayfield's finally in a place that he's happy. Like Cleveland's starting to look more and more like they're just a pathetic joke of a mess. Maybe Deshaun Watson would do better with the Bucs too. Well, I mean, both teams have talented receivers, so, and the Bucs receivers are kind of old. They're good, but they're old a little bit, So they were already veterans when Brady got there. Tom Brady, like 2020. Yeah, that's 5 years ago now already. 4 years ago. But nice start for Jaden Daniels. Glad he, didn't turn the ball over. Was solid, efficient. He's going to be a hell of a player, I think. And I remember there were rumors of the Vikings trying to give up the farm to get up to the second pick, but they would have literally had to give up the farm to get the second pick. That's the problem. So, well, Bucs are 1-0, and the Commanders are not in any commanding lead in their division. That's for sure. Detroit is up 10-3 at the half. Blah blah blah. That's your division. I talked about the Packers way earlier than I should have. That just went right over my head, didn't it? I'm very sorry. Yeah, usually I keep the division last. It all used to start with the division, then I started going in all the other games because I'd get into notables, but some of those games I need to talk less. I apologize. I still have a bad habit of that. Would you believe Tennessee was up 17-0 in this game? Yeah, well, they did win. The Bears did win this game. Chicago Bears, they were up 17-0 were the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis, the other quarterback that slipped in the draft, and he didn't have a good game really, but he had his touchdown, but then the Bears defense kind of took over along the way and forced him into multiple interceptions. As for the Bears offense, Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick, starting the game. I don't know. I mean, right now, I'd rather, if it's just one game, I know it's just one game, but who had the better debut? I'd say it's Jaden Daniels, no doubt. Caleb Williams, only 93 yards, 14 of 29. That's below average right there. No turnovers, good for him, but very below average performance. 55.7 quarterback rating. That sucks. Will Levis in his second year, 52.5. That sucks. DJ Moore, adequate. But what's he going to do? The quarterback wasn't really good in the game. He was not ready to go necessarily. You can't say that Caleb Williams doesn't have weapons, so we'll see. Hopefully he can get his butt together in the next few weeks here. And I know he's a freaking rookie. It's his first game ever, even if it's the Titans. And the Titans might have some good defense there, believe it or not. That's a team with some talent, too, to be fair. They really, there's talented players up and down that roster, even though they stunk the last couple of years. And I ripped them pretty good in the season preview, if you want to check that out, previous episode. But, well, at least the Bears won the game, but meh kind of start for the career of Mr. Caleb Williams. We'll see how that goes as we move forward. Montez Sweat, again, nice addition 2 sacks, though, for Darrell Taylor of the Bears as we move forward. 3 total sacks for the Bears and 2 sacks for the Titans. Nothing all too exciting, really, at the end of the day. Kind of a meh game, but the Bears did score 24 consecutive points. That is very much, that's just it's a job well done. But really, the play of the game was not from the quarterback or anybody on the offensive side of the ball, except for the 2-point conversion anyway. But Tyreek Stevenson had a pick 6 and Will Levis. So the Bears did earn their way back in the game. The Bears also had a blocked punt that was returned 21 yards and for a touchdown as well. So the Bears' special teams and their defense really are what won this football game. Because, I mean, you look up and down the whole game, and it's like, this guy only had 30 yards and didn't do anything else. This guy threw for 93 yards. DeAndre Swift only 30 yards on the ground. Then what the hell happened here? Special teams and defense, baby. And good for the Bears in pulling this off. So special teams and defense showing up and getting the job done, including Cairo Santos making a 50-yarder and a 48-yarder, respectively. Caleb Williams did pass to DeAndre Swift for the 2-point conversion to make it a 7-point game, to keep the Titans at bay with about 8 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. So you don't want it to be a 6-point game and have the Titans win it on an extra point. But, yep, so good job, Tyreek Stevenson. Also getting a pass deflection along the way to go along with the interception. So Jalen Johnson with a couple of pass deflections as well and an interception. So great game for him as well. So, yeah, nice strong performance by the Bears, I guess. Defense and special teams getting the job done at the end of the day. So it's the Vikings and the Bears. It's the 1980s all over again. Yeah, well, the Lions are probably going to win this game too. Probably. And I don't see the Vikings winning a single game against the Lions going forward. Better jump into the 49ers here before it's like midnight. Holy crap. Sorry for how long this is. 49ers, well, the history between the clubs, and I'll try to keep this brief. It's been very good, because I know you've probably heard me repeat this in the past recently. It's become a very close series. The Vikings have, well, in the last 5, the Niners have won 3. So in 2015, the Niners beat the Vikings 20-3. Yuck. That was real early in a promising season for the Vikings, but the Niners beat the crap out of the Vikings. Interesting. 2018 was a very mediocre football game. I remember thinking how awful the Niners were around that time. They had just acquired Jimmy Garoppolo, and I believe he got hurt in that game. He had a knee injury early, and the Vikings were able to win and escape that one, 24-16. 49ers beat the crappy 2020 Vikings on January 11th, very late in the season there, 27-10, and the Niners kicked the Vikings. Well, they didn't kick their butts, but they beat them in a pretty epic battle, 34-26 in 2021. And then last year, a great game by the Vikings, generally speaking, 22-17. Good defense, but good timely offense as well. On October 23rd, 1 week before Kirk Cousins would have a torn Achilles tendon. Happy Halloween, Viking fans in Green Bay. Yuck. So again, a 25-24-1 series for the Vikings and the 49ers. I'm just looking for where the tie was, because there was a tie at some point with these clubs. It's showing it, but I don't see it. Where was the tie? Way back in 1966 on September 11th, 20-20 in San Francisco. Yes, the 49ers did exist way back in the day, and they used to compete against the Detroit Lions in the NFL championship game way back in the day. Pretty cool. And many years later, both teams sucked forever, and then all of a sudden the Niners got a guy named Joe Montana, and the rest was history. So, obviously, we've had one great playoff game in the late 80s, 1987. The Vikings beat the Niners, but other than that, they've owned us in the postseason, have the 49ers. This is not a playoff game, though, so we'll worry about that later. Overall, again, it's a very talented team. Unfortunately, they did not play today because they're not playing until tomorrow. Brock Purdy, is what he is. He's a good quarterback, but I think Vikings have a chance to beat the 49ers. It's funny, the Niners tied, ironically, the Las Vegas Raiders in their last preseason game. That's just kind of funny. It's hilarious, actually, when you think about it. So, yes, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, who unfortunately, he's been in the league a while, probably maybe been overused. There was some turmoil a bit with the 49ers with contracts, but they all seemed to kind of come together when it mattered most. Brandon Ayuk got a nice, big, juicy contract, as did Trent Williams. Joshua Dobbs is also the third-string quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, so good for him. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the league. So they did pretty much get everybody back. Deebo Samuel also was there, of course. Obviously, the talent is up and down the roster. Sorry, trying not to sneeze here. My apologies. But I like the way the Vikings have played this club the last few years. Let's be honest. Last year, the Vikings did really well. Even in 2021, the Vikings hung in there pretty close. But it was a terrible Viking team. But I suppose it was a pretty different Niners team. I mean, wasn't Garoppolo still a quarterback? So, I don't know. Again, it's like there's no real sample size going into this season. It's kind of like picking the Giants game again. I've had a good vibe about this one the past, like last week and into this one. Before, I was thinking the Niners were going to win comfortably over the Vikings. Like, last year was just a flash in the pan. But I think the Vikings even up this all-time series dating all the way back to 1961. 25-25-1 it's going to be, as the Vikings are going to beat the San Francisco 49ers in US Bank Stadium. I just have a good vibe going into this one. Really liked what I saw out of Sam Darnold. He was very sharp. I got a feeling the Niners beat the Jets tomorrow, but then they get brought down to 1-1. It doesn't mean the Niners are going to have a crappy season. I mean, they almost won the Super Bowl last year, and the Vikings were a non-playoff team. So one of the Vikings' 7 wins last year was against that Niners club. So it's not the end of the year for the Niners if they lose in Minnesota. So it's not like, Niners, you're picking the Niners to suck this year. It's like, no, not at all. But I have a good vibe about the Vikings versus the Niners. It feels like a good matchup for some reason. I liked what the Vikings did last year. And, you got to think, outside of Kirk Cousins being like really on fire going into that game, that was like one of his best games of his, whole career with the Vikings. But also Brian Flores having the defense made the 49ers, he made the 49ers struggle last year. He made the Giants look like garbage today. So I got a feeling it's going to be kind of a similar lower scoring type of a game, like last year, 22-17. I can imagine it being very similar to that again. But, it's hard to say what kind of vibe the Niners are going to have. I think as the year progresses, they're going to get better and better, but maybe a slow start, that kind of thing. I'm kind of looking at it that way, even though they will beat the Jets tomorrow, in my opinion. The Vikings win the game. Final score along the likes of... Man, I am blanking. Final score along the likes of 24-20. 24-20. The Vikings win by 4 points over the San Francisco 49ers. Sam Darnold, I think it's going to be similar, like 2 touchdowns, maybe another INT, because it's just kind of in his DNA, unfortunately. And it's a really good San Francisco defense for the most part, even though they've had injuries. And Christian McCaffrey's banged up, and he's 28 now. So unfortunately, 28 in the running back world is getting up there. So it's like 35, 36 as a quarterback, where maybe stuff starts to kind of creep up on you a little bit, unfortunately. And Christian McCaffrey's been probably overused over the course of his time, especially with Carolina. So there's that. Great player, though. God, I love Christian McCaffrey, and I feel bad that he didn't get a ring last year for so many reasons. Much as I can't stand the Chiefs, I like the 49ers too, dang it. But 24-20, the Vikings will beat the San Francisco 49ers. Aaron Jones, well, I think he's going to... Yeah, he'll get along the likes of 75 yards. I have a feeling that the young running back with the Vikings is going to have a little bit better game, I think, than today. Maybe he'll get more. He'll get loose a little bit more, as PA likes to say. He's loose. It's going to be something along those lines. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think he gets in the end zone. The young guy, that would be Ty Chandler, of course. He'll get in the end zone and have something along like 40 or 50 yards. AJ gets 75. Sam Darnold throws for about 200 yards again. Something. He's going to have a very similar game, I think, by the Vikings win. With that said, we'll take a quick break and return for fan interaction.
Hey, Joey, Gerald out of South Dakota. Quick calling for Purple Mafia. I'll just keep this short. Just my comments on Tua Tagovailoa's comments back on Brian Flores. I mean, like, you know, in my opinion of Tua, what an entitled little baby. Like, put your big boy pants on and go to work and do your job. I mean, the coach's job isn't to go find somebody and coddle them and entitle them to a position. I mean, their job is to coach the team, get the most out of the team, and win a championship. And apparently, Brian Flores wasn't convinced that Tua was that guy. And that's all there is to it. And honestly, I don't think he's proven that to me or anybody else that he's that guy. And he made it to the playoffs last year he's got arguably some of the best receivers in the league. Didn't even win their division, but made it to the playoffs and they looked terrible. They went to Kansas City and got smoked. I mean, they looked terrible. So I don't know. You know what? My opinion is I'm glad we got Brian Flores as our defensive coordinator. He looks like an outstanding coach. Apparently, he's not that horrible of a person. Stephon Gilmore played for him once before, came back. Yeah. Tua, grow up and put on your big boy pants. And keep those comments to yourself. I mean, to me, I think more of Brian Flores and less of Tua after those comments. But anyway, that's my opinion. Joey, thanks for the great shows and the great work. Looking forward to hopefully an outstanding Viking season. We'll see. I think they could be better than people think, and maybe they'll be worse than people think. I don't know, but looking forward to it. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a great 2024 season.
And I thank you very much for that call in, Gerald. Gerald String out of South Dakota, formerly of Nebraska, at least for during the tenure of this podcast. That was awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree with any of that. It was, yeah, like, talk about entitled and all that. It's stupid. I know it's like, oh, you got to be better to the, you got to be better to the quarterback and everything, but there's still a side of it that's like, come on, I know you have to treat the quarterback better than maybe defensive coaches have historically, like Zimmer and of course Brian Flores. But yeah, I mean, Tua doesn't really back up his words with his actions in terms of, obviously he's a skilled guy, very talented, this and that, but then, like you said, when they got smoked by the Kansas City Chiefs and how it was like a colder day and it was kind of like he was too cool for school, like, I can't handle the cold, then you're not a playoff quarterback if you can't handle the cold. Let's see. Breaking news. News flash. Okay, I hate when people say news flash. It's so arrogant, but okay. I regret to inform you the postseason is in January in the NFL. So January is usually the colder month of the year, maybe the coldest month of the year in a lot of places, at least in the northern hemisphere. Unless you want to go play football in Australia or South America, then January is pretty warm. In fact, it would probably be way too damn hot in some of those places. But yeah, you're never going to win a Super Bowl with somebody with that kind of attitude. No, I'm a very talented guy, but I don't know. It sucks to see talent like that kind of just like go in its shell when it matters most. And then, of course, whine like a baby about calling a coach a terrible person. I'm not so sure he really was. Him being Brian Flores, a terrible person to Tua. So Tua, you pissed me off. Let's look at I'm going to look at the Instagram first, just in case there's some kind of interaction there. I don't think there was, and it's too bad. I actually feel bad because I kind of enjoyed using Instagram last year. It's kind of sad. Dang it. Yeah. No, there's just like likes here and there, but I appreciate it. Some of it's from Andre from Maranatha years ago, Maranatha Christian Academy, where we both went to school, at least in my case, K through 10th grade. No, 9th grade, pardon me. But then went on to Hopkins High School. I know, we're happy for me. No interactions. People saw it, but no interactions, so bummer on the Instagram, because Facebook posts thankfully do go right to Instagram as well, so at least there's that. Any comment on the Cam Akers thing? No. So yeah, we'll jump right to Twitter. That's probably going to be the most active, even though there's some action on the Facebook page, because now we have Facebook again on Purple Mafia Show. So, at Purple Mafia Show is the Twitter account. At Purple Mafia Show, it will be in the show description. I do believe the Facebook page is as well, even though it's not as fancy and nice of a Facebook page as it was before. Facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. It used to be. Now it's a bunch of numbers and stuff, because it's, I don't know, hopefully someday I can get it to have like an address again of some sorts. So, Sebastian Barton, retweeted the show. Thank you very much. And Vince Germano, I think I saw it in there somewhere, retweeted the most recent episode. Thank you very much. But Sebastian Barton, I wonder if you still listen. Hopefully he still does. If you do, please let me know. Twitter account at Sebastian Rock 95, former host of Sundays with Sebastian Rock 95. So it's unfortunate to see the word former there, because I'm sure he's a fantastic radio host as well. Obviously, great guy from lived in Mankato for a while. Also in New Ulm. I think he's still in New Ulm now. He's moved around a bit, but great young man, of course. Obviously, adult now, very much so. Mad Martin out of Northern Scotland says, I'm very relaxed about this season. Zero expectations. It's about building the future now. Yep. So we'll continue from there. Dave Hickey says Case Keenum 2.0. So maybe that would be about Sam Darnold there. Yeah, how the expectations were so low coming on 27th. I shared it. It looks like Mad Martin. That's why he said he's very relaxed. Yeah, Sam Darnold ranked 27th. This is NFL.com on the app, I guess. Yeah, the app. Darnold is another quarterback we don't have pinned down right now. He started one game last season. Yeah, that's true. For the 49ers, a meaningless Week 18 contest, completed 60.9% of his passes and threw 2 touchdown passes for the season. Then earned himself a spot elsewhere. J.J. McCarthy might have won this job had he not suffered a season-ending meniscus injury. But now it's Darnold's to lose. Some folks are making grand predictions for Darnold as this year's Renaissance quarterback, but I'm not sold. I've seen too much of Darnold and his imaginary ghosts to think a year in San Francisco just fixed him. It would be a fun story, though, and the Vikings don't have a better option right now, so why not see where it goes? So, okay, thank you very much. It doesn't show the name. I'm sure the person is at the top of the article there. So, but yes, thank you there. And Dave Hickey does say Case Keenum 2.0. So maybe good start to the year, no doubt. Fozzie Simon, good to hear from you a couple times here. Yep. And I was really frustrated with the CJ Ham fumble. I posted. We're picking up right where we left off. Should I be surprised? That would be like last season. Fozzie Simon says, working some kinks out for sure. Great heads-up play by Addison, and the touchdown run was sweet. Also, nice pitch and catch Darnold to Oliver. Yes, it was. Very cool. I was saying definitely great drive. That was on that 99-yard drive that I didn't even talk about. So my apologies for that. I didn't even talk about that. The 99-yard drive was awesome. He says 2 catches on a 99-yard drive. Fun so far. Skol, says Fozzie Simon. Hope to hear from you more and more, Fozzie. I believe we met last year during some of my negative posts. I think I was getting mad a lot last year because, well, I was. I was also saying, allow me to endorse the New York Giants uniforms for today. Outstanding. I love the glittery red part of the helmet as well. They should consider making these permanent, or at least a few Sundays a year. And I was saying that sincerely. There was no sarcasm involved in that statement. I was saying it sincerely. I like those uniforms. But I know not everybody is. LaCroix Mojito. Try it. LaCroix Mojito. Free plug for LaCroix. That's again, seltzer. Very tasty. No alcohol, of course. Tastes kind of like, but yeah, that one tastes kind of like a margarita. That's probably the idea. Mad Martin says, fun watch so far. What if he was responding to something? Yeah, so nice. I don't have to moan about Cousins anymore. Yep. Think you missed a couple of audio calls I did way back in the year. Oh, shoot. I hope I didn't. Did I? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Was it maybe like back in the summer or something? Or like in the spring maybe when I was like in a hiatus like I normally do? Oh boy. Yeah, let me know. Let me know, Dave Martin, if you could. Yeah, let me know, Dave, if that's the case. I'm sorry. I certainly wasn't intending to do that. Maybe I'll check as well here. Mad Martin. I know this Giants O is nothing special, but boy, our D looks good. Looks really good. The new era has begun, and it looks promising. Again, like the Dallas Turners and some of the, again, Van Winkle as well. Grenard, yep. Says, very happy with both sides of the ball today, and we can finally run the ball. Again, Jones was a great pickup. That is awesome. Yep, very sure. Finally, a stress-free W. How nice is that? Yep, because it's like, yeah, like you can't remember the last time we had a fourth quarter that was not in doubt. Half a decade, yes, and you're dead accurate with that. It has been half a decade. Skol, brother, and skol back to you, brother. I think most fans have forgotten over the last half decade that this is what a dominant win looks like. This is how you were supposed to handle a poor team. Yeah, like back in 2022, as fun of a year as it was too damn close. And like going down 33-0 to the frickin' Colts was ridiculous. How do you go down 33-0 to that team? As good as, what's his name used to be, the quarterback, Matt Ryan, as good as he used to be, it's like 22-0, really? Are you crazy? Like, really? And this was at home. Oh, it was so bad. I think it was the week before Christmas, right? The week before Christmas and all through the house, not a Viking was stirring, not even a mouse. The Colts took a very big lead, and we were despaired, and we turned off the TVs because we no longer cared. Okay, sorry. But, okay, I have no more rhymes for you. I'm sorry. That was all just random and stuff. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Dave Hickey out of Iweja says he looks really good so far. Him being, again, I believe that would be Darnold. He looks so good. He looks really good so far. He didn't miss too much. It sucks Edison went down. Yep, that would be the ankle, of course, again. But Naylor stepped up, and yes, he did. Naylor's nice little story, isn't he? Sorry for smacking my lips. It's a bad habit. Uh-oh. Yep, so Dave Hickey did not like the Giants uniforms. That's a bummer. I hated them. They are as bad as the Steeler throwbacks. Are you sure about that? The Steeler throwbacks? Yeah, those are pretty ugly. But I love the Giant in the commercials with the same throwbacks. Go figure. That is interesting. And yes, the logo in the center of the field was pretty cool, too, if I can throw that in. I always wonder where they came up with Giants for names because, well, the biblical Giants were kind of bad. They were actually very bad. The Giants they're very bad. And, well, we'll talk about that on Freedom of Thought if you'd like to listen to conversation about that kind of stuff. Dave Hickey says, wasn't able to post on Facebook. You got like 4 followers. It must be hacked account. Oh, I have one with 62. Maybe did I send you the wrong one? Oh, shoot. I hope I didn't send him. Couldn't have. Well, this one has 62. Well, because the other account was, yeah, you probably heard how the other account was basically, terminated by Facebook because I don't know if I had the Viking logo on there or that was why or what the real reason was, but it's gone, unfortunately. It's just a reality and extremely frustrating that happened, but it's just the way it is, It's super depressing. Some things just aren't meant to be, I guess, at this world, huh? That's actually kind of nifty. Yeah, but I have a link to the Twitter now on the Facebook page as well. So, I probably invited you. Maybe you didn't see it. I mean, I had to have invited you, right? This is Dave Hickey here. This isn't just some random guy. Switch to Joy. I'm going to check real quick. I'm doing something on the fly here. Bear with me if you can. Oh, come on. Can't even type. What? Yeah, surely. Come on. What? Okay. Invited. Yeah, it's going to show that he's been invited. Because there's a lot of people that have been invited, but they never... Yeah, it shows that he's invited, that you're invited. Because this one obviously was... This one's a recreation. 62 followers on it. Maybe I can... okay, here's an idea. I'll just respond with the link. What do you think of that? So, yeah, I'll do that. Sorry for this on the fly. The new one, colon. Boink. Hopefully that helps, Dave. Hopefully. Okay. But, I mean, I don't mind you posting on Twitter. I think it's, Twitter's totally fine. If you like Twitter more, it's, the access is just as easy and arguably better in some ways. Twitter was the main thing last year, and it could be again this year if that's the case. Dave Vicky, again, says, hope it will be longer. What were we saying longer about? I was saying, Packers hope Jordan will be out 3 to 4 weeks with MCL sprain. Dave Vicky says, hope it'll be longer. I hate to see any player get injured, but it has to be someone. Then I say a prominent player in the Packers. Okay, we play there. When he's out, it works for me. So, we'll see how that turns out at the end of the day. Then it's Twitter, but it's X. I keep calling it Twitter, but it's actually X or X Twitter. It still is Twitter.com, which is interesting, but it's called X. So, I don't know what the heck. Facebook page, all 6 of you. Okay, I'm just kidding. Oh, yeah, I got a comment back as Purple Mafia, not Joey Wygen. Hopefully that solves something. I'd like to believe Mark Carlson's one of the followers. Yeah, but he tends to get, maybe he's busy or something. So the in-game thread, I don't think there's any responses to other stuff that I had posted before. Like the spectacular Brett Ripien signing. And I was saying the same thing. We're picking up where we left off. Should I be surprised? Mike Dale was saying, "Skol, everyone." I was telling him it's awesome to see him again, and he says, "Great to be back." Mike Dale says, "R.I.P. Giants." And Mike Dale is from the state of New York, not the city. "R.I.P. Giants." Van Ginkel putting the Giants to sleep. That would again be the pick 6. Some comments may have been filtered out. We can't be doing that. No. All comments are relevant, okay? Maybe only if it's like, they're saying J-Jets, giddy up. Yeah, big play there. Come on, man. There we go. Mike Dale was saying, feels weird rooting for Aaron Jones, but yet here we are. Good job regrouping. Yep, absolutely there. And I think that's it for Facebook, Unless, there's one more. Brent Jacobson. Great to hear from you, Brent for Liberty, but also known as Brent Jacobson. This is in the post-game thread. So, it's going to be a matter of time as people get used to commenting. And Brent, hope you keep doing this and hope you're still a listener again like he was for so many years, dating back to 2009 at the very least. Purposeful overreaction, says Brent for Liberty. Vikings looked like they are going to go 17-0. The only question is, home purples or road whites in New Orleans? Well, I guess it depends, right? They used to think that it would be the home team would be because it's the conference that the home stadium is in, but maybe it's different every year. I'm trying to remember what did the Chiefs wear last year? I think the Niners were wearing white last year, if I remember correctly. So that would mean maybe the Vikings wear purple this year. Technically, if it's like every other year, I forget how all that goes. It's confusing and weird sometimes. Like, what's really strange is I believe the Vikings were going to have to wear white if they went to the Super Bowl in 2017, though I think the NFL said this is a rare exception if the Vikings somehow made it to the Super Bowl that they would get to wear their home purple back in 2017. So I'm guessing the Vikings would be wearing purple if it's every other year. So, because I'm pretty sure the Chiefs were wearing their home reds last season. The Chefs, the Kansas City, the Yuck City Chefs. Unless I'm just an idiot and can't remember anything. But, I hated seeing the Niners lose that game. As much as I hated seeing the Chiefs win that game. So with that said, I guess that's the end of fan interaction. Boy, I don't know. I loved hearing from you guys, though. Really appreciate it. Some of the others out there, Sebastian, don't be afraid to say something. I know you're, a very knowledgeable Viking fan. Would love to hear from you more and more, Sebastian. Mark Carlson, I know you're out there, of course. Gerald. Yep, well, you did the call-in, which is great, absolutely great. Yep, you're more than welcome to keep doing that. Brent for Liberty, Brent Jacobson, yep, keep them coming. It's wonderful to hear from you again. It's been so long. And of course, the Facebook page doing what they did last year, that was so frustrating. But it's nice to have something of substance again, and hoping for the best with that. So, hope all of you have yourself a wonderful week. as we're going to play the 49ers, and Darnold going against a club that he was a part of last year, but didn't really, play a big role. He was a backup quarterback, and we'll see how that all turns out. Before I look to sign off, I might want to give you a hint. Some of you that may have never called into a show before, well, all you need to do is use your smart device. Just kind of open any free voice recording app you may have on your smart device, your Android or Apple or whatever the heck. You could even use a laptop with, recording a sound file, something like that, whatever it is. But open your voice recording app on your smart device, press record, treat it like a phone call, basically like a voicemail, that kind of thing. Because you're actually recording a podcast when you're doing that. You basically are. How do you think I recorded some episodes on freedom of thought, and I might even do a segment or two mobile on this one sometimes, because why not? The audio is pretty good. Gerald sounded pretty good, didn't he? I think he did. So that's all you do. You just record it, and then you share it / email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com. paladinolive@yahoo.com. I would then convert it into an MP3 file thanks to cloudconvert.com, which does an amazing job. Obviously, so it might come out as an M4A, which is totally fine. You can convert it to an MP3 in seconds on cloudconvert.com for free. So, with that said, again, thank you so much for listening, and hoping the Vikings can continue in a positive direction against the 49ers last week. Should be fun. Until then, take care.